Good morning, my friend.
Yeah, I saw that record light come on. How are you, bro?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, man. Welcome back. Psalm 95.
Psalm 95. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of like super amazing as a musician. I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go. And then I'm like, whoa, what happened here? I like verse 8. I'm like, wait. So this is good. I'll kick it to you in a second here to maybe give the background and the context, because context really makes a difference. Um, but there were just two things, and you're going to talk about this. Just telling you what you're going to talk about. What happened, in this end here, and I love just this phrase that the right communal attitude towards Yahweh as Creator and God is one of responsive worship, as opposed to an attitude of reluctance and resistance. And you're going to get into that. But the other one that I really was like, oh, that's super cool. It says, what verse is this? Today, if only we would hear your voice. Is that verse 10?
The end of verse 7, I think.
Sorry, the end of verse. Okay. The end of verse 7. Today, if only you would hear his voice. I love this. This is not about whether God's voice is audible to his people. It's rather that a worshiping community should be careful to listen to his voice when they hear it. So it's more about, for us, I took that as we need to be in the scriptures, recognizing when God's speaking to us through the scriptures or through a teaching. And here is not to is it loud enough? It's to follow, to obey, to take heed, it'd be the other way to say it. And I was like, oh yeah, and that ties in, I think, with the context of this psalm.
Yeah, totally. You are frozen. You keep freezing.
I'm freezing.
Yeah. I think we're good, but I'm not entirely sure if you already gave context or if you want me to.
No, yeah, do it. Go ahead and share, because this one, with it getting weird, it's like it needs the context too. Like, okay, well, what's this story all about? And
Yeah, totally. It's funny because I did the same thing. I was reading it and I was like, man, this is just like such a beautiful psalm. Like you almost don't even need to say anything. And then verse 8 just kind of hits and it's just like,
yeah,
and everything shifts. And he says, do not harden your hearts as you did at Meribah, as you did that day at Massa in the wilderness, where your ancestors tested me. They tried me, though they had seen what I did. And what this is referring to is what happened back in Exodus 17. And Meribah, did you do that on purpose?
yeah, a little bit.
I was like, okay. Meribah means contending, and Massa means testing. And basically, the story is after God showed up for them in a huge way in Egypt and in the wilderness, delivering them out of slavery in Egypt. They, among other reasons, one of the reasons, and specific to that story, that they were complaining is because they were really thirsty, and they act out against God, and they get so angry that they're about ready to stone Moses, and Moses doesn't know what to do and seeks the Lord, and ultimately the Lord is gracious and provides for them water from the rock there. But I like the way, just this little note that the NIV commentary had on it. It said, these places symbolize a whole generation of faithless Israelites who dared to challenge the Lord, even though they had witnessed all the mighty works in Egypt, by the Red Sea, and in the desert. And so it was interesting because you have this beautiful opening, and then this kind of stiff reminder or warning. And I just wanted to hopefully take that to heart this morning. May we be people that, like verse 1 says, sing for joy to the Lord and shout
Mm.
out to the rock of our salvation. Verse 2, come before him with thanksgiving and really live a life of faith, and trusting that just like he's been faithful in the past, to continue to be faithful in the future. And I just thought it was interesting too, the way that ties in to the story. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. And I read a little bit of Exodus 17 this morning just to kind of see what it was all about. And the title of that section in my specific copy of the scriptures was titled over it, Water from the Rock. And then you start reading about their complaining, and it's just like, man, in a section of my life that when it's all said and done, will probably be one of those sections of my life that if someone were writing about it, had a title over it, basically check out how awesome God provided and came through for Jake. I would hate for the next line to be, and Jake complained and wanted to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Faith, but yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, that's this, I was kind of hinting at it before, but I love this line that kind of sums up that idea that, the right attitude towards God is one of responsive worship, as opposed to this attitude of like reluctance and resistance and the listening. Again, it's not this like how loud it is. It's like, no, like take heed. God's already made these promises to these people. He's going to deliver them. He told them that he did in such a miraculous fashion. Why would they think now that he's not going to provide for them? And so in a similar way, maybe you're going through something today and it's like, you know what? God has made these promises. He has seen us thus far, and he's going to continue to provide for us. So let's just take heed of what he's saying to us. Let's listen for his voice.
Amen.
All right, brother.
Dude.
Off to the Sunday gathering.
All right, man. Adios.
Peace.